So this is the formula of how brands are able to go from zero to multi-million dollars in a very short amount of time. How do I know this? I know this because for the last 3 years, I've worked with brands at different levels, from those who are just starting all the way to those who are in 8 figures, so making $1 million or more per month. And I've helped them generate well over $10 million in revenue. So that's where I'm coming from. But yeah, this is the playbook of how you're able to go from zero to many millions in a relatively short amount of time. When it comes to launching a brand, there are roughly 3 things to know. There is product, positioning, and then there's distribution. Product is what you're selling. Positioning is how you're talking about your product in comparison to everything else that's on the market. And then the distribution is then, where are you then sending that message to? I recently had a conversation with a founder who's been in business for, get this, 7 years. Get this, 7 years, and his product hasn't been able to move, and he's on the verge of shutting it all down. He had a very good, like a high quality product that was handmade. It was more premium and it sold at a more expensive price, but he was struggling to sell it. And it didn't take long for me to realize that his problem was not the product, but it was a positioning and a distribution problem. See, the problem was he didn't have a real concrete go-to-market strategy. Basically, he didn't have a smart way of how he was going to talk about his product in comparison to everything else that was on the market, and he didn't have a plan of how he was going to be able to convince people why spending that much on his product was better than his competitors. So he had a positioning, and even worse, he had a distribution problem, right? And so he ended up in this situation where he had all of this extra stock, and he was now trying to sell it, not really knowing how he was going to get rid of it. And this is the position a lot of brand owners find themselves in, where they have an idea, they're passionate, they think it's going to be amazing, and then they rush and they go ahead to make it without thinking through, what is my positioning? So how is what I am doing different or better than what everybody else is doing? And then how am I going to distribute that message across so that those people who align with what I believe, who align with this product, can then support? Which is why, to take it back to the original question that I asked in this video, how are modern brands now able to go from zero to many millions in a relatively short amount of time? I'll tell you. Number one, they make sure they have a really, really good product. Number two, they figure out a way to differentiate themselves from the rest of the competitors. And number three, they then begin to disseminate or distribute that message across to the necessary people. And the amazing thing is that these 3 things are done before the product is even made. Take that in. And I'm not just talking about, oh, we're going to do a pre-order campaign. I mean, the work before the pre-order campaign. So they spend a lot of time, oftentimes building in public, oftentimes building community through like private DM outreach, but also through creating content and reaching out to the network. And they are soliciting feedback from the public about what the product should be, what kind of features are important to them, how they should speak about it, what they should charge for it, and what would justify that specific price. And in so doing, they're collecting all of this information, and not just information, they're collecting data and contacts, so email and SMS. So even before the product is actually ever made, guess what? They've already amassed a high volume of email and SMSs that they now have people who have already bought into the vision, people that have already bought into the brand and are already interested. They've bought into the vision, so that now not only do they have distribution, they already have distribution that is ready for their product. So as a result of that, they can then launch to a ready and a hungry audience. That's how brands go from zero to many millions in a short amount of time in 2025. You figure out product, positioning, and distribution all at the same time, and you make sure you are collecting first-party data, email and SMSs, and then building monster email and SMS marketing systems behind them, so as soon as they're ready to push the button, it's a sell-off. Now, if you found this helpful, then guess what? I actually have a school community where I am showing every tool, every secret, every tactic, every strategy that I have personally used, and I am personally using right now to help my clients build 6, 7, and 8-figure brands. And guess what? The community is free, all right? So just comment, holla, and I'll get you that link. Peace.